Hey there, Sketchnoters. So this week's element, you don't actually even need to practice. It's probably something you've been doing without realizing it. We are going to look at different patterns we see in sketchnoting. We organize our sketch notes much like we organize our writing. There's a time and a place to write in a certain way, and sketchnoting is the same. Depending on what kind of information you're capturing or what kind of message you want to convey, you might set it up differently. In Mike Rohde's book, The Sketchnote Handbook, he outlines these 7 sketchnoting patterns: linear, radial, vertical, path, modular, skyscraper, and popcorn. I'm going to show you an example of each of those and comment on when I use them or when I've seen them used. Let's start with linear. Linear just follows a line to help you make sense. In this case, the lines are horizontal. This is a sketch note by Sylvia Duckworth, and it's how she often lays things out. You can see she uses icons with little footprints to show you the steps that you need to step out of your comfort zone. And you can follow them very easily, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on through to 10, across in a left to right, horizontal and then down vertical way. I find that linear is really great when you have an item that is linear, when you are following steps or you have a process or there's a very clear way that things are structured. Radial is something I tend to use because when I learn, my brain is sort of all over the place. So I like to put a title in the middle and I set that up ahead of time. And then I work sort of like a clock around my middle bubble, if you will. So in this case, I started in the top left-hand corner and then went around in a clockwise fashion. When I sort of got along to the right-hand side, I got some more ideas, so I didn't actually put them in any kind of pattern. It's sort of like an idea in the middle and then all the ideas that I got in sequential order around. This is a vertical sketch note by Wanda Terrell, and as you can see, she has the title at the top and then she has columns, and each one has different bits of information. So she has in her first column some links and tips. In the middle column, she has steps. And then in the last column, she talks about how to finish what you did with the steps in the middle. Vertical is really great when you have these very distinct ideas and you can put them in almost like containers that are vertical. So if you have a lot of ideas and you could just read down the page. This is a sketch by Julie Woodard, and you can tell that her path works here because of the connectors. And with any path, I find that you really do need to employ those connectors for it to be successful. So in this case, you'll notice that it's a sketch note without any kind of doodle at all. It's just containers and connectors and some fonts and very few colors. She's only employed about 4 colors here, but you can tell how to read this based on the arrows. And that's a really good thing to use this pattern if you have some sort of flow that you want to follow. So unlike path, where with Sylvia's we read left to right the entire time, in this case we follow the path around to make meaning. This is one of Laura Wheeler's sketches, and it's modular. She was learning from Matt Miller about how to use a Chromebook, and as he shared tips, she just put them into little containers so that they would each stand on their own. And I love to use modular when that's just the case. You have a whole bunch of little points that you want to remember quickly. You can put those into those, almost like you would put different kinds of, items of food in your lunch into maybe different containers, so that you can eat them at different times of the day. This is a skyscraper, and it's very much like vertical. And this is again by Julie Woodard. It's how to use Flipgrid. So her main idea is at the top, and then she has 3 columns with an idea at the bottom as well. I have used this with students to do an essay outline. And I really like this feature or this way to do an outline because instead of just having to write and students getting stuck, I have them just put ideas in little doodles. I find it makes it really a relaxed atmosphere at the beginning of a writing activity. And I also find that students are more likely to look at one another's and give feedback versus just having words on a sheet of paper. And this is Carrie Baucom's. It's the last kind. It is popcorn. You can see that she's put ideas all over the page in different containers with different doodles. And there's nowhere that you need to start. You're just reading information as it comes or where you're drawn to. I really like to use popcorn when I'm doing any kind of brain dumping. If it doesn't need to have any kind of set structure and I'm just putting ideas onto a page, it's great for brainstorming. Popcorn is the way to go. So you might already find that you have a pattern that you've established when you're sketchnoting. Maybe you like to use a path. Maybe you have everything in modular, in little containers. Or maybe you notice that you do a little bit of both. So actually mine, while it is radial, that it's a center idea with ideas around it, I kind of find it's a hybrid between the radial, the idea in the middle, and popcorn, ideas around it, but sort of scattered. And that's fine too. They're your notes. They need to make meaning to you. So know how you want to structure them so that you can understand them when you go back and revisit. Those are patterns in Sketchnotes.